Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to talk about a tool that is, I'm not kidding, super simple, but also incredibly powerful. It's all about structured problem solving, and it's designed to save us from those meetings. You know, the ones that just go nowhere.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in one of those meetings? A brainstorming session, maybe, where the team just gets stuck? Like you latch onto one idea and the whole conversation just spins its wheels around that single point. You're all there to solve a problem, but you just can't seem to break out of that one single line of thinking.
And it usually sounds something like this, right? One person goes, okay, the problem is definitely the material. And so the next person jumps in with, oh, well, if it's the material, what about the supplier? Then someone else says, well, what about the material's packaging? See what's happening? Everyone is stuck talking about material. Material, material, material. They're all just staring at one tiny piece of a way bigger puzzle.
Yeah, that right there, that's what we call the brainstorming trap. And it's a classic. It's basically a type of confirmation bias. The very first idea that gets thrown out, it sets the tone for the entire conversation. And without even realizing it, everybody starts looking for answers only in that one little box, totally ignoring other possibilities that might be way more important. So, how do we stop ourselves from falling into that trap? Well, how do we break out of that cycle? We use a tool that's specifically designed to pull our thinking out of that rut and gives us structured, a complete picture of the problem.
Okay, so formally it's called a cause and effect diagram, but you've probably heard it called the fishbone diagram. And you'll see why in a second. It looks exactly like one. Sometimes it's even called an Ishikawa diagram, named after the guy who came up with it, Ishikawa. But honestly, you can call it whatever you want. The point is simple. It's a way to visually map out all the potential causes for a problem, so that absolutely nothing gets overlooked.
And you know the best part? Anyone can build one of these. Seriously, it's super straightforward. So let's walk through how to actually make one right now. So it's basically a simple 4-step process. First, you've got to agree on what the problem or the effect actually is. Then you draw the basic structure. But step 3, now this is the real secret sauce here. This is key. You decide on the major categories of causes before a single person suggests an actual cause. Only after that, in step 4, does the brainstorming start and you fill in all the details. All right, let's use a classic example to make this real. Step 1, you have to clearly define the problem, the effect. So let's say our problem is a wobble in a product we're making. That one single agreed-upon problem, that wobble, becomes the focus. It's the head of our fish, and everything else we do is going to point right to it. Now, this right here, this is the most critical step for avoiding that brainstorming trap we talked about. Before anyone is allowed to shout out a specific cause, the team has to agree on the big, main categories of causes. This one simple rule forces everybody to think broadly right from the get-go. It's what stops the whole group from getting hyper-focused on just one thing, like materials. Okay, so once you have that skeleton, that structure in place, now the brainstorming can finally kick off. And the goal here? It's all about quantity, not quality. Just get it all out there. The team just starts throwing out any and every potential cause they can think of for each category. I mean, it doesn't matter if it sounds small or silly or unlikely. The whole point is just to get every single possibility up on that board so you can look at it later. All right, so now you've got this big, beautiful, filled-out diagram. That's great, but its real power, the magic, comes from using it to dig even deeper, to find what we call the true root causes. So we have to make a really important distinction here between a surface cause and a root cause. Think of it like this. A surface cause is the obvious thing. It's the first thing you see. But the root cause, that's the fundamental reason the problem is happening in the first place. Fixing a surface cause is like putting a bucket under a leak. Sure, it helps, but the leak is still there. Fixing the root cause is like actually replacing the burst pipe. And a fantastic little technique for finding that pipe is called the why method. So let's say one of the potential causes we wrote down on our diagram was measurement. We don't just stop there and say, okay, measurement's the problem. We ask, why? Why is there an issue with measurement? And the team might say, well, because there's a problem with our measuring standard. But we don't even stop there. We ask again, okay, but why is there a problem with the measuring standard? And the answer could be, because we don't have a regular process for reviewing it. You see? You just keep asking why, until you hit that one foundational thing that, if you fix it, the whole chain of problems above it just disappears.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Coming up with those main categories can be kind of tough, especially if you're new to this. So if you're ever stuck, here's a great pro tip. Use the 5M and E framework. It's a fantastic all-purpose starting point. It stands for manpower, or, people, machine, material, method, measurement, and environment. These 6 things cover pretty much every single part of a work process, so it's a really good way to make sure you haven't forgotten a whole area.
Okay, so after all this drawing and asking why a million times, what's the actual real-world payoff? Like, why bother? Why is this considered one of the most essential tools out there for quality control and management?
Well, the payoff is huge, and it goes way beyond just fixing that one little problem you started with. First off, the process itself is a powerful learning tool. It gets everyone in the room on the exact same page. It gives the whole conversation structure, so one loud voice or one popular idea can't take over. It obviously helps you find those deep root causes. And maybe most importantly, it documents all that team knowledge for the future. It's like a living snapshot of how well your team actually understands what it's doing. And the best part, you can use it for any problem. Quality, cost, safety. Heck, you could probably use it on team morale.
So at the end of the day, just remember this. The fishbone isn't just a drawing on a whiteboard. It's a whole new way of seeing a problem. It gives you structure, it forces collaboration, and it pushes you and your team way past the obvious, easy answers to find the ones that are really going to make a difference. So it really just leaves you with one question, doesn't it? What hidden problem are you going to solve first?